This is a country that's been on my bucket list for years. Welcome to Cuba. I've wanted to come to Havana since 2015. That was the year that I first saw Robert Palladori's photographs, images that stayed with me. Crumbling walls, faded rooms, forgotten colours, all soaked in natural light. But they weren't just pictures of decay, they were portraits of time. Havana has a rhythm that's hard to explain. This isn't a city chasing change, it holds its breath. Colonial facades sit beside Soviet blocks. Everything's patched, repurposed, reused. You get the feeling that nothing's thrown out and nothing's truly finished. It feels like the past never really left and that the present is always negotiating with it. On the streets, photography just happens. You don't wait for action, life is already unfolding. People live outside, conversations carry across alleys. A man fixes a chair on the sidewalk, a kid runs barefoot past a cracked mural. It's all happening, all the time. All you have to do is be open and alert. Light in Havana plays a huge part. It reflects off tile floors, soft faded paint, cuts through broken shutters. Everything looks better at the edges of the day. Early morning, late afternoon, even at midday, the contrast brings something new. But it's a city where the light tells its own story. And then there's the cars. Not stage, not nostalgic, but very real. They're loud, dented, full of personality, held together by wire, tape, and decades of hands that know how to keep them alive. Bright pastels, worn chrome, rust, smoke and pride. They don't just pass through the frame, they shape it. You hear them before you see them, then they glide past, impossible to ignore. But after 48 hours of walking and driving the city, it became clear to me, this isn't a typical photography trip or a typical destination. Something has shifted. The services are still here, the colours, the textures, the classic scenes, but underneath there's a different energy. Conversations feel heavier, expressions linger longer. There's a quiet fatigue. Cuba is struggling. Since 2020, it's gotten harder and it's more visible. Food shortages, long blackouts, people working less, day after day, getting paid less and less. What you see isn't just faded beauty anymore, it's a resilience under pressure. That shifts how you work as a photographer. You take fewer shots, you spend more time looking, you think harder about what you're framing. I'll go deeper into all of this in a separate travel summary video. But Havana doesn't let you just take pictures. It makes you feel the weight of what you're photographing, and that stays with you. I'm in Cuba actually for 4 weeks in total. I'm actually co-leading a joint photography tour, a huge scouting tour for 10 days across various parts of the island, and then I'm taking a well-earned rest. But before that, we've got to wrap up the spring here in this magical Caribbean island. I landed recently, tour starts at the weekend, so we've got some free time. Let's go hunt and let's go photograph. So when shooting staircases like this, you're looking for height. You could either shoot looking upwards getting the height in your image, or of course raise yourself up the staircase to kind of get yourself at a higher vantage point to actually frame a composition from. Remember to work the angles. You can work the space and try to check where it is. And what you want to do is check your lines throughout constantly on the back of your LCD. Diagonals give movement, symmetry gives calm. More importantly, as usual, watch the light. It's not so important here, but there's a nice soft glow towards the pink wall, which is going to require a little bit of Photoshop work to kind of fix. So I've actually just done a couple of compositions which I really enjoy, and I've actually stepped further back for this last one to actually get a little bit more of this kind of framing. Now I'm going to have to do, as I said, a little bit of post-processing with the graffiti that seems to have appeared in this location. But it's pretty fantastic, got nice colours to it. This blue I'm not too sure about, bottom left and right. I love the pink, and of course the actual stairwell itself above. I've now framed it really, really well at the top, trying to really get a nice symmetry to the overall look and feel. So it's the second of the day. I think it's definitely more spectacular than the first, to be honest. Mostly because it's been untouched. Now, one of the previous points was about height. Getting the correct height when you're shooting the stairs. Now, I can see here that I probably need a lower position actually. The actual main window of the staircase is actually quite low in the scene, which is going to make it quite difficult. That was quite good. I can work with that, but I don't like the flare I'm getting. So I need to just do that one more time without the flare if I can. Okay, I'm gonna go on my knees now. For one. I love the framing on the left side I've got. Not so sure about the right side. I've come a lot lower than I was. The window is mind-blowing. Stained glass. There's not as much light. I actually came and recce'd this one the other day, and there's way less light than there was. It's an overcast day. It is sticky. It's definitely warm still, but overcast. It's okay. Again, it's something about the light going weird. That's much better. I'm going to just try one standing up. Much higher. the last one then. Oh, I've got one more photo in mind. For this one I've gone for the 24mm. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to make sure that that window creeps through into my framing. And what I mean by that is there's two pillars and I'm trying to frame it in the center of that and get a nice line up. Again, my bracketing is 5, it doesn't need to be. Probably well overkill on it. Well, not probably, it is. And my tripod could be a bit higher actually. Let's just finish it properly, shall we? Don't be lazy. Get this up. Yep. ISO 400, I've framed the window. I've been patient, I've positioned myself correctly. And it's going to need a little crop on the left-hand side of the frame. That's not a big problem, is it? Let's be honest. The light's nicer than when I came on my scout. I scouted like 2 days ago. And when I scouted, there was just horrible light on the bottom of the stairs here. I do have my shadow, I've just noticed, on the staircase, so I want to make sure that I'm trying to avoid that a little bit. Nearly there. I just got the bottom section of the image to do, so I'll move myself out of this. And finally, just making sure I focus right on the bottom where concrete has gone. Just want to check those, make sure I'm happy. Oh, there's a chair leg in the way, but I don't think that's a big problem. The window is framed nicely with a crop that's going to look great. Try there. So with that, my 2 early morning shoots have concluded, and so has our first video here in Cuba. To be honest with you, it's going to be quite the adventure. There's a lot going on, and I've actually, of course, a little secret here is that I've been to these places just a couple of days ago to pre-scout them just visually to see what I was letting myself in for with this, because there is crime, of course, here in Cuba, especially in Havana these days. It's not the same as it used to be. To be honest with you, they're both highlights so far, real crackers. I've enjoyed photographing them. Hopefully I've got something a little bit different. I hope you've enjoyed them too. If you've got any comments, please leave them below. Until the next video from here in Havana, Cuba. Bye-bye for now.